Hey guys, KMWar016 bringing back with another video. As you can see, it's yet another Naruto fan art. As I explained before, chances are, while I'm rewatching the entirety of Naruto and Naruto Shippuden and taking notes on every single episode, the chances are I'm probably going to be doing a bunch of fan art for the series. And in fact, I have an idea for the next artwork, or at least the next character that I want to do artwork of. And I was inspired to do it by seeing a certain episode of the episode 280 of Naruto Shippuden. Basically, Deidara, thanks to White Zetsu, Deidara breaks out of Kankoro's Black Ant. So Kurotsuchi, the fifth company in the command unit, work together to try to recapture Deidara. During that time, Kurotsuchi transforms into Sasuke and then confronts Deidara. Deidara pursues Kurotsuchi under the impression that she is indeed Sasuke. Earlier, at the beginning of the episode, Kurotsuchi told him the unfortunate news, or at least unfortunate for him, that he didn't kill Sasuke with his big explosion. So his art is a failure, massive failure, because it didn't actually do its job, which was to kill Sasuke. And it's funny because when Deidara interacts with Unoki back at the Turtle Island, when Kabuto's trying to capture Yamato and Naruto and B, Deidara tells him something along the lines, "I killed that damn Sasuke Uchiha," and not a single person tells him that Sasuke is still alive. Kabuto is sitting right next to him at the time, by the way, and he does not tell Deidara that Sasuke isn't dead. It's sad to let him be completely oblivious to the fact that his so-called art wasn't effective. And speaking of Deidara's art, and since you guys can't see me, I'm using quotations when I use Deidara's art, because all he does is just blow things up and call it art. I believe, I mean, he does describe art as like a flash of brilliance or something along those lines. I don't remember the exact words. I do remember writing down my notes the exact way he describes art, which I do think is any interpretation of art can be seen as valid. I just don't think that. I just prefer Sasori's, where Sasori's perspective on art is that art is supposed to be everlasting and something that people can look back on. Like, for example, Sasori's puppets, because Sasori has put his soul into every one of the puppets that he has. Kankuro recognizes this, and because Kankuro recognizes this and expresses to Sasori, Sasori's soul is free, and therefore the reanimation jutsu for Sasori is just a failure. Because if the reanimation shinobi has a strong enough will, it releases the jutsu on their end. For example, Hanzo intentionally chose to kill himself by cutting the venom sac that's to the left of his abdominal muscles, which if you guys don't know why Hanzo is referred to as Hanzo the Salamander, in his village there was once a venomous, I believe it was a black salamander specifically, but there was a venomous salamander, and before that salamander died, they took the venom out of the salamander sac and they implanted it into Hanzo in order to try to create a human who can secrete their own venom. It was effective for Hanzo, the only problem being that anytime he took a breath, he would breathe out, he would release some poison, and he could kill anyone around him with a single breath. Hence, he wears the mask. And another reason he wears the mask is also to protect himself, because if somebody cuts him where his venom sac is, and all that accumulated, that concentrated poison releases at once, even with Hanzo's resistance, he couldn't withstand the effects. He couldn't withstand that much poison. It wouldn't kill him, but it would paralyze him, leaving him vulnerable for an attack. He explains this to Mifune during their first match. and that's why he wears the mask, to protect himself in the scenario in which that happens. From what I can gather, that's never happened. So, but it's always good to prepare for that hypothetical. So, and it's funny, when I was watching that episode, I was thinking, bro, I'd like to see this dude unmasked, and then literally in the same episode, he gets unmasked. It's funny to think about. But we're over halfway through the video, and I haven't even talked about the main subject of this video. The Hidden Leaf's Orange Hokage. So, I'm sure anyone here watching is familiar with Naruto Shippuden. I forget the episode number. I believe it was 260 something. Actually, no, it was before 260, 250 something. Basically, right after. Actually, no. Wait, no, it's right before. Right before Naruto wins the tug of war against the Nine Tails. At this point in the series, the Nine Tail Kurama is not known as Kurama, but the Nine Tails is his name isn't revealed. If I remember correctly, because I looked this up on Google once, his name is not disclosed until episode 326. Right now, I'm watching episode 289, so I have 37 more episodes after I finish 289 until I get to the point in which his name is revealed. And yeah, I'm watching all the episodes. I'm not skipping anything. The anime filler list marks as filler because their definition of filler and my definition of filler are completely different. For me, filler is basically anything that's a spin-off that is not tied to the story of the anime itself. Anime filler list defines filler as anything that isn't in the manga. But manga and anime are entirely different, so I don't think it's fair to compare the two in terms of what's canon and what's not when they're two different stories. One anime, or at least a lot of anime, base their stories off of what's in the corresponding manga. However, the anime does, it might base it off of, but the anime just builds its own story nonetheless. So, as I was saying about the Orange Hokage, that is the nickname Naruto came up with. And I think it's like 9,000 IQ plays. So, I actually made a tweet about this a long ago. Not that long ago, back in 2021, but though, in terms of the clothing design for Naruto, it's just absolutely 9,000 IQ plays, because Kushina is known as the Red Hot Habanero because of her red hair, and the hot habanero represents her rage whenever anyone crosses her, or more specifically, the boys in her class crossed her, because apparently none of the girls tried anything on her. And she would just clap their cheeks. There's this one time which, before she graduated the academy, there was a genin who wanted to beat her up for picking on his little brother, even though said little brother started it. And then Kushina just clapped his cheeks. Similar to how Naruto made 1,000 shadow clones and clapped Mizuki's cheeks, despite the fact that Mizuki at the time is a chunin, and Naruto failed the graduation exam 3 times. Despite that, he still got his cheeks clapped. But to be fair, the multi-shadow clone jutsu is not a genin level jutsu. It's actually known to be a jonin level. But still. So I think the orange represents the mixture between the traits of his mother and his father, because Minato is the yellow flash of the leaf, Kushina is the red hot habanero. Put that together, you get the orange Hokage. Naruto wears orange a lot, and orange is made from mixing red and yellow. You get the connection. It's 9,000 IQ plays, just like how Naruto loves ramen so much, and Jiraiya came up with Naruto's name from eating ramen. Hence, Naruto has a fixation to ramen because that is the origin of his name. So there you guys go, and I'll leave it at that. I'll see you guys in the next one.